The President of the United States is speaking to a crowd of thousands in Ohio tonight, and we are taking you there in just minutes. But first, as Democrats vote ceremoniously to restrict the president's war powers, the reality, and it's important these days, right, to talk about reality and stress what reality really is. The reality tonight is this: we have taken out a major terrorist responsible for hundreds of dead Americans, and we have shaken Iran's leadership enough for Iran to have gotten the message that, you know what, America's not going to allow, nor will America ever fund a reign of terror. Stock market knows this, right? We've soared to new highs, and yet the safer we get, the angrier the left becomes. Good evening, everyone. I am Trish Regan. I want you to see this. I want you to see this is the partisanship we're looking at right now from the Democrats on display today.
President Trump's incoherent strategy has brought us to the brink of another disastrous war in the Mideast.
President Trump has committed an illegal and unconstitutional act of war.
The president's dangerous provocation was unlawful and unconstitutional.
The president's reckless and irresponsible actions toward Iran have endangered our service members.
Is that this reckless act by the President of the United States actually makes us less safe.
They're all mad. They're all mad. They're all mad because you know what? These are people that cannot stand success, because when the country's successful, they think they're not. President Trump has single-handedly course-corrected the mess we have had in the Middle East. He has demonstrated that we will no longer appease terrorist regimes. Markets are soaring, our economy's on fire, jobs are being added, and you know what? Most importantly tonight, we're safe. But God forbid we're actually safe, right? I mean, I hate to even say this, but it's almost as though they want to prove a point. They want to prove a point that Donald Trump has launched us into some kind of World War III. I mean, take a look at squad member, the leader of the squad, perhaps we should say, although maybe she's tied with AOC, Ilhan Omar. I mean, she's perhaps one of the angriest right now.
The President of the United States has been goading Iran into war. The occupant of the White House has not done a single thing to stabilize the region. He has done everything to create more tension.
Really? More tension? Once again, what do they want? They want to just allow these terrorists to thrive until they come and get us? You know, and yet I'll tell you, this is how we know. This is how we know this is nothing but pure politics. Here's how we know how totally insincere this Congresswoman is, because when she's not raging against President Trump, I want you to see how she's just joking around with members of her squad. Take a look at this here. Can we actually zoom in on this? Because I want you to see her laughing. Here she is, Ilhan Omar, laughing, giggling, chatting happily with her squad mates as another Democrat Congresswoman talks about war and death and our soldiers. You want to talk about a total lack of respect for the situation we're in right now? You want to talk about lack of respect for our military? Her giggling up there? I mean, is this not proof that she doesn't take any of this seriously? What on earth, I want to know, was so darn funny that she thought it was appropriate to be giggling on stage at a moment like this? I mean, not to mention, Ilhan Omar thinks President Trump is somehow causing her to have PTSD.
I feel ill a little bit because of everything that is taking place, and I think every time I hear about of conversations around war, I find myself being stricken with PTSD.
Really? Because you know what, PTSD is an emotional depressive disorder that so many members of our military actually really do struggle with. And while we're talking about Ilhan Omar, I should just also mention this, right? She wants to sanction Israel, our longtime historic ally. Yet when Israel's sanctions, or rather, our sanctions are heading for Iran, she somehow thinks it's all economic warfare, which just makes you wonder right now. Whose side is she on? Whose side is the left on? Because I'll tell you, surely sometimes it feels like they're on Iran's side. It would be helpful if everyone in Washington, D.C. would stand for the United States of America right now and be on America's side. That's tonight's Intel. Joining me right now, House Armed Services Committee member, Indiana Congressman Jim Banks, who took quite an issue with Ilhan Omar and her PTSD comments. Congressman, it's good to see you tonight.
Good to be with you.
Your thoughts on the Democrats' behavior, including this woman, giggling there up on stage.
Trish, it makes my blood boil when I hear the words come out of Ilhan Omar's mouth. Her behavior at this press conference is disrespectful to our men and women around the globe who wear the uniform and serve to protect us. Yet her juvenile behavior and her pure hatred of President Trump is disgraceful to me. That's why I tweeted last night that Ilhan Omar is disrespectful of our troops, and she should apologize for this behavior. Instead, she lashed out even further and doubled down and played victim rather than recognizing that's right. She played victim rather than recognizing that her behavior is absolutely disgraceful and unbecoming of a member of Congress.
But isn't that par for the course, right? I mean, you see it over and over again on the left. They're always playing the darn victim card. I mean, one of the things that I think this president has done extremely well is he's helped lift people's spirits up. He's helped them realize that America doesn't need to be the victim. In other words, we can chart our own future, our own destiny. And when you think about what's happening with Iran, us going out and just taking out one of the really bad guys in the world that is responsible for so much heinous death, murdering, 600 Americans, sir. And, it's somewhat empowering. Right? And that's what I don't think the left understands.
Ilhan Omar says she hates war. She saw it as a child. She should be thanking President Trump for keeping us out of war with Iran. Instead, her pure hatred of him led her and Pelosi and others to pass a motion on the floor to tie this president's hands from keeping our troops safe abroad, especially in the midst of the threat from the Iranian regime, who last week killed an American contractor and harmed American troops, who we know wants to attack more Americans in the region. She wants to tie the president's hands from keeping our troops safe rather than thank him for what he's done to keep us out of war.
Congressman, I'm going to jump in right now because our president is speaking in Ohio and he's got a lot of things to say on the economy.